All right, let's dive into Exodus chapter 38. This is such an incredible part of the story where we see this massive construction project come to life through sheer faith and, well, an unbelievable amount of generosity from the people.
So think about it. How in the world do you build a home for God right in the middle of a wilderness? It's a huge question. But the Israelites, they weren't starting from scratch. They had the divine blueprint, and in this chapter, we get to see them bring that sacred architecture to life. It's all about amazing craftsmanship, but also this just overwhelming generosity. Let's see exactly how they pulled it off.
Okay, so first things first, we're starting in the outer court. This is where some of the most essential acts of worship are going to happen, and it all begins with the great altar of burnt offering.
Now, Bezalel is the master craftsman in charge here, and you can see every single detail was made exactly as God had commanded. It's made of shittim wood, completely overlaid with brass, and look at those dimensions, perfectly square. But you got to understand, this isn't just, a fancy barbecue pit. No way. This was the absolute central point for sacrifice and atonement for the whole nation. This is where they would come to meet with God and find forgiveness.
Okay, this part always gets me. The laver, this basin for the priests to wash in, was made of brass. But where did the brass come from? The looking glasses, the polished bronze mirrors of the women. Can you imagine? They gave up what were probably their most personal, most valuable possessions to create this holy vessel. It's just such a beautiful, powerful picture of personal sacrifice, of giving up something precious for something sacred.
All right, so we've got the key pieces of furniture for worship. Now the next logical step is to define the space itself. You have to create a boundary, right? A physical barrier that separates the holy ground from just the rest of the camp.
And this wasn't just some flimsy fence. We're talking about a serious enclosure. You've got these long curtains of fine twined linen held up by pillars set in brass sockets with silver hooks. This was a powerful statement in fabric and metal. It was a visible declaration marking out this sacred space where the holiness of heaven was going to meet earth right there in the middle of their everyday camp life.
So the chapter takes a bit of a turn here. We move from the construction site to the accounting department, if you will. And let me tell you, the numbers are absolutely staggering. This isn't some boring list of materials. No, this is a record, a testament really, to the incredible heart of the people and just how they responded to God.
First up, the gold. We're talking 29 talents and 730 shekels. Now, to put that in perspective, that's over a ton of pure gold. And get this, it was all a free will offering. People just gave it, willingly. Imagine that kind of generosity, all dedicated to building God's dwelling place.
Next, we have the silver, 100 talents and 1775 shekels. I mean, it's just a massive amount. And this silver, it wasn't just a random donation. It was gathered from the census of the people, and it had a very specific, a very foundational purpose that we're going to see in a minute. It literally anchored the whole thing.
And then there's the brass, or bronze, 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. We're talking well over 2 tons of it. And this was used for things like the sockets for the courtyard, the big altar and all its tools. I mean, the sheer quantity of materials that the people gave is just astounding, truly. So you have to ask, where did all this come from? Especially that very specific amount of silver. It wasn't just a pile of random donations. Well, the Bible gives us a really precise and honestly a deeply meaningful answer.
And here it is. The silver came from a special census offering. You can see here, 603,550 men, 20 years old and up, were counted, and every single one of them was required to give the exact same amount, 1 beka, which is half a shekel, no more, no less. And the best part? All of that silver was melted down to create the 100 sockets that were the literal foundation of the sanctuary.
And that just reveals this profound truth at the very heart of this whole thing. This wasn't about the wealthy patrons funding the project, or a handful of skilled artists doing all the work. No, it was the unified act of an entire nation responding to God. Every single person who was counted had an equal foundational part in what God was building right there among them.
So Exodus 38 really leaves us with this powerful idea, right? It just shows what can happen when a whole community of people unites in faithful giving. When everyone plays their part, the result isn't just a building, it's not just a tent. It's a home for the very presence of God, built on the shared, equal sacrifice of every single person.